Good?
Yeah.
All right. What's going on, guys? So I'm going to talk about credit in this one. So getting a high credit score. I'm going to explain how credit score works, why you need it, and some little tricks. You know, they're not crazy, you know, too crazy of secrets or tricks, but stuff that'll help you out. You know, I'm gonna use this breakdown to explain to you guys, you know, the FICO credit score and how it works. So I'll tell you guys this: the first thing you guys want to understand with credit is the reason why you want good credit. It's because it's going to make you have lower interest rate, you know, especially when it comes to getting a house. Some you'll need it, you won't even qualify without it. But a good credit score is going to be the difference between a couple percent, and that's the difference between a few $1,000s, not only a month, but ultimately tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars on the back end of that mortgage. So a lot of people don't really take it that seriously. And I will tell you this, there is a huge market in the world that exists for people and bankers to make money off people with shitty credit score. It's very simple. If you don't have a good credit score, people are licking their lips at you because they know you have a bad credit score, you want stuff, they can charge you more money, and on top of that, if you're already struggling, and that's what it may seem, even if you're not, they like it because they get higher interest rates off you, more money, and then they could repossess stuff off of you. It's crazy. So you could get a high interest rate, pay all this money, and they'll give it to you, and sometimes they'll do predatory lending just so that they could take it back from you, just like auto loans. And that's what a lot of that happens today. So be very careful of that, and ultimately focus on your credit score. You know, the first thing I'll tell you now, the first tip of advice, get a credit card right now. If you don't have one, get one. If you're 18 years old, get one. I got one the first day I turned 18 years old. And now most of you won't qualify for a credit card at 18. No credit card, especially if you have no income history, you're not going to get one. What you need to do is go get a secured credit card. You could go to Capital One, Citi, Discover, even Bank of America, and ask them for a secured credit card. And what that secured credit card is, it's going to be pretty much like a prepaid credit card. You give them $250, they'll give you a credit line of $250. But that way, it allows you to establish credit, have a credit balance in your name, and then that's what's going to lead you to be able to qualify for a credit card without putting money down. That's going to be your first step. So you guys need to do that. And now I'm going to go over the 5 parts of the credit and explain them and what they mean. So the first part is that's 30% of your credit score is going to be the amount of money that you owe. So they're going to look at your balances and available balance, and that's actually it's going to be amount owed versus the amount that you have available to you. So if you get that secured credit card, $250, you now have available credit in your name of $250. So what your score is going to be based on is how much of that $250 you use. So if you use $125, you're utilizing 50% of your credit. So if you leave a balance on there of $125, they're going to say, okay, you owe, not only is it just a little amount like $125, but they're going to say you owe 50% of your available credit. That's going to actually hurt your score. So you want to make sure that you don't owe a lot and you keep those balances low. Or another way is make sure you get lots of lines of credit, so that, and that's where it's going to take time to build, so that you have a larger balance available to you. So, and that's a big thing. So that's 30%. And so how do, for a tip for some of you guys, use your credit card, but keep the balance low, because that's another, I guess, a common misconception. People say, oh, get a credit card, leave a balance on it, and pay interest. Actually, that could hurt you sometimes, especially if you have low limits, because you're going to be owing a lot of the credit available to you. So how do you use your credit card and show the credit card companies without keeping a balance? Do what I do. I use my card every day for expenses, any sort of expense, gas, food, any items, Amazon, whatever it may be. I charge everything to my credit card. I even get cash back, so I even make a couple $100 a month just spending my credit card. But I use it so that the company sees that I'm using it, and then I just pay the balance at the end of the month entirely. So use it for your gas, and then just pay it off right when you do it. And make sure you guys also set up any credit card you have, no matter what. Make sure you set up a what's it called? Online banking with it, the automatic payment, because set it up for all of them. Make sure it's there to at least pay your minimum balance just in case you forget. Don't leave it prone to missing a payment, because I'll tell you, I think that's the other 35%. 35% is payment history. So think about that. You're going to look at your payment history. I've never missed a payment in my life, but I did. But on my credit score, it doesn't, because then I'll show you can get stuff fixed. But I didn't have automatic payments set up on. This was like literally one of my first secured cards I got, and it was a card, and it had an annual fee. You know, they charge you annual fees, and I didn't know that, and I hadn't used the card for literally like 5 years. So I got charged, and I didn't know the contact information was out of date. And then I get a bill with my credit card, and I find out that my credit score drops from 800 to 580. And that was because I was literally I missed like 2 or 3 months of payment on this one balance, so it looked like I was delinquent. And what happened, I called, I explained the situation, I got it figured out, and what they did, they called the credit reporting agencies, and then they reported it that it was their mistake, because I did bitch at them, and they fixed it. They fixed it, reported back to the credit agency. Oh, I feel like I'm in Fast and the Furious. But they called, they got it fixed, and that was that. So my payment history has been perfect. That's 35% of it. So use the credit card, charge it up, pay it off, make sure you set automatic payments so you never miss a payment, and you'll be good to go. And those are the first two things. And that right there is going to be literally 65% of your credit score. Now, the other 10% is going to be new lines of credit. So be careful. That's why you don't want to get your credit checked all the time, because it does hit you a few times. And that's actually one of mine, because, I'm getting houses a lot, getting cars, doing a lot of stuff with my credit. Even when I've done multiple different properties, that kills you. Every time I have to do cable, utilities, they check your credit. So if you guys are renting a lot and you're switching between places all the time, be careful, because that could affect your credit score. They look at how many inquiries you've had in the last 2 years. So although it's only 10%, it's not going to drop you off. But for me, sometimes, especially as you want to get to the higher ranges, that could actually hurt you. So be very cautious with how you're getting it. And if you keep getting denied, don't keep applying for stuff. Set up secured cards and go about that process, so that you don't want to have too many inquiries. So that's only 10%, which isn't that bad. So you want to limit that. And then the other 15% now is the length of the credit, of your credit history. So that's why I say get it now. And it's because that's going to be 15%, and that's one of the easiest 15% you guys could get, simply by getting a credit card today. If you don't have one, get one. And I know some people have one, and there's a common misconception. This is why I want you guys to have credit, because if you guys have credit, have available credit to you, you could get it at low interest rate. It's a very, very powerful tool, especially if you're responsible, have, fiscal responsibility, and know how to manage it. It could be great. And a lot of people are under the pressure, no, credits for poor people, credits for people who need it. Not at all. And, because I know some people, and I told them the same thing. I said, get your credit card right away. I don't care what it is. They have their car paid off. They have their house paid off, paid for everything. That's the way to do it. That's how my mom is. And that's the way they view it. But they have no credit history. I said, get one, because now if you already have those assets and you're already doing good, adding some credit history on top of that and getting access to money that is really, you can almost get money for free, and that's something for me. Like, I get cars, if I want to I could go get any car I want, almost zero down, and in a super low payment, literally practically zero interest, because I'm a very qualified buyer. People are lining up to give me that stuff, and that's one of the benefits. So it's pretty cool what you can do with it. But that's why start now, establish that history. I'm only 23, but I already have about 6, almost 7 years of credit history, which is pretty crazy. By the time I'm what, 28, I'll have a decade of credit history, which is pretty cool. So That's one thing you guys are going to want. And now the last part is the other 10%, and you'll notice these last three things all equate to 35. So really, these are smaller things, but you see, you get the easy points where you can. You know, don't open too many credit cards, have a card for a long time, and then the last one is a mix of credit. So what you want to do is when you have a mix of credit, now there's revolving credit, which is credit cards, money you can just access and spend. Wait, am I going the right way? 57 north, okay. I hate slow cars. I was going to stay behind this guy the whole fucking time. Sorry, excuse my language. I'm trying to work on that a little bit. But, oh, now you want to switch lanes. But the last one is the mix of credit. Revolving is your credit cards, the money you have available, ready to spend. That's the stuff you have access to. That's one form of credit, but another, houses. A mortgage is a different line of credit, and a car payment is a different type of credit. And then there's also credits like financial accounts like Dell, some companies, it'll add to your credit balances, and sometimes make sure you got to differentiate, because some are good, some are bad. So, you know, if you could apply for some stores, not even stores, but like I know I did one when I was younger with Dell to get a computer and to build my credit, 0 interest as long as you pay the interest payment. And that's something you got to know too. As long as when you have those 0 term interest, make sure you read the terms, because if you miss a payment on those, sometimes they will retroactively charge the interest, which is bad. But you get one of those cards, you mix up the credit, and what's good about those, you increase the credit available to you. You know, I qualified even when I was young for like $3,000 for Dell computer, but now I have $3,000 available. So even if I'm not using that $3,000, that's going to give you the use of credit. It's going to increase 35% of my score. So that's one thing to do with it, but you want to mix it up, even get car payments. So that's why sometimes, like I said, even if you could have the money, if you're getting low interest and doing it, it's good to mix up your credit. You know, so that's how I'm able to stay in the high 700s, 800s, simply because I'm following all these and have that mix of credit. So those are pretty much all the stuff, and you guys see the little tricks. And oh wait, that one thing, be careful with the credit you're getting. You know, like some like furniture loans. Some people, you'll see like 0 interest for 5 years, furniture loans. There's some sort of, I guess, bad credit that credit agents will see, even though it's a balance. So you got to be very judicial, because like a furniture one is a bad form of credit, because they'll let almost anybody qualify for that, even if it's 0 interest. But your credit's going to see it as bad credit. You're the credit card companies, because you're pretty much paying on an asset that is depreciating. You know, furniture, you can't even, it's very hard to resell. It depreciates, and a lot of these places offering that, they're offering it in-house. It's sketchy, and not only they could take it back and hurt your credit, but ultimately that they know the items are cheap Chinese furniture that is marked up 30-40%. So you're paying high markup on credit. So that's very dangerous. So make sure you guys are looking into all that. But as you see, these are some of the little tricks and understanding how your credit score works, because if you understand this and are just like aware of it, you can build your credit, and it's good to build your credit. And like you said, you know, you get so many versatile tools to utilize when you have credit. So it's a pretty cool thing to have. I suggest all of you look into building your credit, take it seriously, and you know, this is your life. This is something that's going to be very important. Everybody has a credit score, so pay attention to it, and it all relates to the bigger stuff that we talk about, and you know, houses and all of that. I swear I had one more point with credit. Interest, how it works. So for some of you guys kind of confused with interest, you know, it's like I said, using your card and paying it off. You could put, even if you have a high interest rate on the card, most of you will get high interest rates for your first card or two. As long as you pay off the balance, they only charge you for holding balances, so whatever's held on there. But if you charge $2,000 to your account and then pay it off before the whole payment is due, you don't have to pay any interest on that. So 210 West. So that's the good part. And now also, once you do have credit, or even if to build your credit, take advantage of 0 interest. You'll see a lot of teaser rates. Use it and take advantage of it, but understand, some will say 18 months 0 interest, But you have to make sure, sometimes, like if you get like an $1,800 computer and it's $1,800 computer, let's say, 18 months, 0 interest, it's 0 interest only after that 18 months. So pretty much a lot of times what they'll say, any balances after that, or if you don't pay off that item in 18 months, they'll go back and charge you the interest. So although the minimum payment may be $5, $10 a month, and you're like, oh, I could get this computer for $5, $10 a month, 0 interest. Really, to get that 0 interest, you got to pay $100 for 18 months. You'll pay it all off, but then that way, by the 18th month, there's 0 balance. So look into that and understand interest, and don't fall for those traps. And teaser rates are good. You have to hustle the company. Don't let them hustle you. That's what I'll do sometimes. I'll open up new cards, especially for big purchases, to mix my types of credit. And what I'll do is I'll get those lines of credit. They'll give me 22 months 0 interest. I could just pay little by little instead of paying up front. Build my credit, I get to utilize it more. But now the best part is I'm not paying huge interest, but I have to make sure I pay it off in that 2 years. Otherwise, they'll go back and charge me. So if you guys don't do that, it's going to end up biting you in the ass. So that's the one thing I wanted to add with interest. If you guys have any more questions about any of this stuff, let me know. Even then, if any of you guys have like credit situations, even with related to that tax video, I'll even be interested. If you guys have any advice with it, I'll set up a phone line, and you guys could literally, again, I'm not a credit specialist, I'm not a tax advisor or anything like that, but I'll gladly talk anything over with you guys, as long as you let me record it, put it on YouTube to share with other people so they could learn. I'd love to do that for some of you guys. So feel free to hit me up, give me some questions. You guys are confused about your credit, you've been going through stuff, let me know, because you guys would be surprised. It just takes a couple right moves. Even if you have not so good credit now, you're only a couple of smart moves mixed with some time away from actually setting yourself up to get out of that situation and reap the benefits. Because like I said, you don't want to pay more for stuff you don't want to have, and you don't want to be kind of I don't want to say victim, because that sounds so dramatic, but I guess a victim of predatory lending and get taken advantage of when really you don't need to. Because even then, I know some people, they have no credit, but they have good income, good money, they're stable, but time comes to get a home or even utilize themselves, or if they want to leverage themselves, very risk effective, it might prove to be difficult. So take that into consideration. Hope that helps you guys. Subscribe, like, share the video too, honestly. You'd be surprised, and make sure you take notes on this, actually listen to it, because a lot of people, it's such common information, but this could really take you far. And it's kind of crazy to think how many people don't really know this stuff and don't put it into practice. So I suggest you guys do that, because imagine how many people don't care about this and aren't taking that same proactiveness towards it. You're going to get a step ahead, and again, it's just going to make your life easier and things cheaper. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Stay in school. Love you all.